Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Nomi, and in today's video we are going to be talking about a very viral topic. When I first watched it, I was in complete shambles and confusion as to why this person thought it was a good idea to upload this series. And not only that, but I was also in complete shock at the sheer lack of self-awareness coming from this individual. So if you haven't guessed it by now, in today's video, we are going to be talking about the very viral makeup artist who was forcibly removed from her client's wedding for absolutely no reason, or so she says. Keziah is a makeup artist who successfully grew her business, The Key Look LLC, by specializing in catering to all complexions, not only when it comes to makeup, but as well as styling hair. This truly made her business stand out because not only was she catering to all races of people and complexions, but she is also a Black woman herself. Keziah, along with her very dedicated team, strives to deliver a luxurious experience that not only makes the bride feel especially beautiful on her wedding day, but ensures that the entire experience is as smooth as possible. Now that all sounds fine and dandy, right? When you scroll through the Key Looks Instagram and TikTok page, you just see hundreds and hundreds of real life examples of just how dedicated this company is to making the client's day the absolute best it could be. You can just see how much love and care that they put into their craft and how great of a job they do. Not only is it very visually appealing, but you can also tell just how great of a service it must be based on the way that the brides speak about their experiences. Unfortunately though, as we all know, there can never just be a great success story. In early September, Keziah released a video which turned into a short video series that would forever alter the public's opinion of her company as well as Keziah herself. The beginning of the end started off with her vlogging her journey to the site where she would be servicing the bride. But before we got into any major details of the story, Keziah did release a very important key detail, which is that only 2 days prior to her arriving to complete this service, she actually found out that her long-term boyfriend had been cheating on her. She said that she could barely keep it together and that at some point she bursted into tears. And it just so happened that that whole ordeal took place in front of her clients. She says that she cried from the beginning of doing the bride's makeup all the way until the end. But here's where things started to get really weird. You can tell by the way that she worded the next part that she was actually proud of herself making it through doing the bride's makeup. And this is where I have an issue with that. Who the hell on their wedding day wants to be sitting in front of a stranger, allowing them to do your makeup while they're having a full-on emotional meltdown right before your eyes? Raise your hand if you want that to be you. I don't think he's raising his hand. It's just resting on the pillow. What part of that is supposed to be assisting in delivering a perfect wedding day to the bride? And what part of that is supposed to be something that the bride can easily push aside, assuming that she's not a full-blown sociopath? There's no one in their right mind who could have something like that happen right in front of their face and somehow remain in high spirits as though nothing is wrong, or as though they're not, one, in front of someone who is out of their damn mind, or two, is being emotionally burdensome and inconsiderate of someone going through an emotional hardship. And the further that the story progresses, you really get the sense that the bride herself is actually a very sweet and caring person. So much so that she still didn't want to kick the makeup artist out even after several violations. Keziah unfortunately somehow had the misconception that her pushing through her emotional hurdle was somehow a very selfless act. But I think it was in fact a very selfish act. I am quite positive that if the team had informed the bride that Keziah could not make it due to her receiving some devastating news, that the bride would have understood. Especially seeing as how talented the team is, I am sure they could have still delivered her a seamless experience. But instead of doing what was right in order to keep the environment light and stress-free, Keziah decided that it was actually better for her to go ahead and continue with the service as originally planned. Somehow her bursting out and having an emotional meltdown was still better than her allowing her team to take over and handle business for her. And I find it so incredibly humorous and ironic that in one of the early clips, she said that she was ensuring the bride, Kiana, would have a day that she would never forget. It was literally a precursor for what was to come. Now, as we continue on going down this rabbit hole that's Keziah's mind and her perspective, she did keep mentioning that she was having such a good time and everybody there was in such high spirits. Everyone was so happy. The atmosphere was great. Everyone was feeding off of her energy. And she just felt so much better by being there, doing what she loves to do. It's unfortunate that she is so unaware of herself that she didn't even realize the energy that she was feeling, the atmosphere that somehow she thought she was supplying was not coming from her. She was raising her own spirits by pulling from everyone else around her. It's unfortunate that Keziah is so unaware of herself that she didn't even realize that all of that great energy and atmosphere that she was feeling was not coming from her. She was not supplying those good vibes. She was feeding off of that high vibrational energy that was coming from the happiness of the bride as well as the bridesmaids. That's what had her so happy to be there. It was because she was around people who loved each other and they were in such high spirits that it wouldn't allow her to remain in such a negative headspace. She thought that she was supplying that energy, but actually she was just siphoning it. Now, based on everything that I've told you so far, this was already weird enough. However, it got even weirder. Things started to really go downhill. Keziah selfishly made the decision that she would stay for the remainder of the entire wedding. Not only did she invite herself to stay at this woman's wedding, but she also thought this was a good time for her to advertise those clippings. Girl, what are you doing? What are you doing? She also continued to very invasively. While the photographers and videographers who were hired for that job were trying to get those shots and capture those special moments so that they could be professionally compiled and delivered to the bride and groom as agreed upon. It really felt like everything past this point were stolen moments. These were things that a lot of us were not supposed to see. And if it weren't for me just going through to gather more information, I wouldn't have watched it because it was very cringy and uncomfortable. Those were not her moments to participate in. She was not a welcome guest, and I just feel like she truly embodied the meaning of overstaying your welcome. She seriously inserted herself into this woman's entire wedding. At the scene where the bridesmaids finally got to get the first look at the bride all put together, they were having a very private moment. Keziah was still there recording. She was in the background. She was talking to the bridesmaids as though she was a part of their clique. And as the bridesmaids were getting emotional and really starting to tear up because they were witnessing their friend about to get married, Keziah thought it was a good idea for her to offer her shoulder for them to cry on. And I'm not saying that she didn't mean well. That's not what I'm saying at all. Her meaning well is all fine and dandy, but it was just a very uncomfortable sight. Ma'am, you do not know these people. These people do not know you. She's patting them on the back, rubbing them, say everything's going to be okay. Like, ma'am, back up. Get out of the way. The bridesmaids who came out and spoke on this later on even said that you could see her in several clips that the videographers took. You could see her in the background. Like, ma'am, back up, get out of the way, be quiet, or just talk to your team or something. Why are you in these people's business like this? It was just so uncomfortable and unsettling. Do y'all know the amount of secondhand embarrassment I had from watching her not being able to take a hint? And this woman is several years older than me. It's just very unfortunate. It's so unfortunate. And I also really hate that she decided to use the videos of the wedding, including the bride, including the bridesmaids, including the groom, including the groomsmen, in order to basically slander them. Now, hear me out. Even if they unwarrantedly kicked her out of the wedding, as a business owner, where this is your profession, that is your hit to take to the chin. That's your pill to swallow, because it's not always going to be peaches and sunshine and rainbows. These are clients at the end of the day. When you broadcast yourself in this level of unprofessionalism, you are killing your potential clientele. There's a reason that there's a show called Bridezilla. It's because women get very uptight on their wedding days because it's very stressful. They just want everything to go perfectly. They had been planning this for months. A lot of times it's a financial stressor, and being in that sort of industry and having to share that level of intimate space with someone that you do not know on a very special day in their life, and choosing to use that footage to say your 2 cents was just uncalled for. Because me personally, if I ever wanted to book a luxury experience like that and I saw this come up when I Googled this business, I would not book them. Because let me find out that you were upset that we tried to give you hints for you to leave and you had to be escorted out because you weren't understanding that, and you kept recording and recording and recording things that were not for you to record. Let me find out that you end up upset about that, and now you want to use my face in the face of my friends, my husband, and slander us on social media. Are you crazy? Because you're in your feelings about your own personal issues. Yeah, I would never hire someone like that. Granted, it was one mistake, but who's to say that she wouldn't do that again the next time she was dealing with an emotional hurdle? And I really do feel so terribly bad for this bride, having her wedding day displayed in such a disgusting manner. And not only that, and to also find out that the bride and the groom are not very active on social media. They don't like this kind of thing. So that just made it even worse. And later on in this little video series of Keziah basically exposing herself, we did find out that the wedding was actually meant to be very, very private. It was supposed to be a very intimate ceremony. No one who was originally and officially invited to the wedding was even supposed to have their phones out for much longer than it took for them to take a picture of the bride and the groom. That was supposed to be it. After that, all phones were supposed to be put away and there would have been no more pictures, no more recording. Yet and still, long after the agreed upon time, Keziah continued to take video footage. And although that isn't what she was initially hired for, it probably wouldn't have been so bad if she didn't turn around and use those very same videos that the bride didn't even allow her own family to get footage of and post them all over TikTok for the entire world to see. Not only is that incredibly embarrassing, but she also permanently stained what was supposed to be the best day of that woman's life. And this was all because she wanted to put off dealing with her emotions about her personal life and trying to put a band-aid over it, acting as though she was doing this for someone else when she was really doing it for herself. When you hear her speak on her feelings about the situation in the video that came out after she ran out of footage to use, I just want you to think about it as though she's talking about her relationship with her ex-partner, because that's exactly what it sounds like.
I hadn't done anything to anybody that day. The only thing I did was show up, do my best, and be my best. I just wanted to do everything that I could to make sure that the day was perfect for them. But obviously, I was doing something to get on somebody's nerves. As I am bursting out in tears, the bride is consoling me, and she's like, no, like, I don't want you to leave. Like, I'm so sorry. I'm really in tears because I just can't believe that all this stuff is happening to me this weekend. Most of other personal problems that I got going on in my life. I'm in this crazy space. I was just so emotional. I couldn't do nothing but break down. I just felt so weak. I felt so made a fool out of. I felt so vulnerable, like I was being kicked while I was already down. And I just felt like I had given this bridal party everything that I had. I didn't have much to give, but I gave it. I gave it all I got. I gave it all my energy. Y'all can see, I literally went above and beyond. I was on my feet for over 12 hours. I was giving it everything I had. I just want everything to be special for them. I knew I wasn't in the best space, but I'm like, these people are literally having one of the biggest days of their life. Like, I just want to make sure that this shit goes well, and I just
This sounds like projection. This sounds like unrequited love. This sounds like something that should have been taken care of in private and not something that should have been broadcasted across the internet. Even the way she says all she did was show up and give her absolute best. Does that not sound like something that someone would say maybe after they found out their partner had been cheating on them or finding out that they had been betrayed in some way by their partner? It almost sounds like she was desperately trying to rebuild her confidence in herself and her abilities by using these people to prove that when she does give her all, despite her having nothing else to give, that things are going to turn out well for her. And the exact opposite just happened. Because when you ignore your feelings on a situation that, in her words, broke her heart, and you try to run away from that and go do something else to get your mind off of it instead of addressing the situation right then and there, it's going to come out. No matter how you try to suppress it, it's going to come out. You can't outrun your problems. And these are just my thoughts. These are my opinions. And I'm not trying to make my opinions a reality. I'm simply analyzing the information in front of me with as many context clues as was provided. Because at the end of the day, only she truly knows what was going through her mind at the time that she thought this was a good idea. And only she will ever truly know where that behavior and lack of self-awareness came from. The only caveat to that is that she's only ever going to be aware of that if she's able to sit down and be real with herself. And that concludes the video for today. But before I get out of here, I'll let you all form your own opinions on the situation, because maybe I'm a little slow. Maybe I'm a little delayed. Maybe I'm just not getting it. But you can let me know, because if you don't know, you should know by now that this is a place where everyone is allowed to form their own opinions. So let me know how you feel about this. What do you think about the situation? Was she in the wrong, or was she simply just unaware? And should she be critiqued harshly or given grace? And with that said, thank you all so much for watching this video. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up, and while you're at it, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, because I see you watching, I see you liking, but why are you not subscribing? Don't forget to hit the notification bell so that you're notified the next time that I upload, so that you can catch my videos just as soon as they drop. And with that said, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.